Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 10, Prahlad, the best among exalted devotees. Text 43-44 onwards. Prahladasya anucharitam mahabhagavatasya cha bhaktir jnanam viraktischa yatharthayam cha shivai hare sarga sthiti apyayeshasya gunakarmanuvarnanam paravaresham sthananam kalin vyatyayo mahan. This narration describes the characteristics of the great and exalted devotee Prahlad Maharaj, his staunch devotional service, his perfect knowledge, and his perfect detachment from material contamination. It also describes the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Prahlad Maharaj in his prayers has described the transcendental qualities of the Lord and has also described how the various abodes of the demigods and demons, regardless of how materially opulent, are destroyed by the mere direction of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with descriptions of the characteristics of various devotees with reference to the service of the Lord. This Vedic literature is called Bhagavatam because it deals with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotee. By studying Srimad Bhagavatam under the direction of bona fide spiritual master, one can perfectly understand the science of Krishna, the nature of the material and spiritual worlds, and the aim of life. Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Vedic literature as we have discussed in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, simply by understanding Srimad Bhagavatam, one can understand the science of the activities of the devotees, the activities of the demons, the permanent abode and the temporary abode. Through Srimad Bhagavatam, everything is perfectly known. So this is the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and it has the it describes the characteristics of Prahlad Maharaj, great and exalted devotee Prahlad Maharaj. And also, as in the translation, it is said, how the various abodes of demigods and demons, and regardless of how materially opulent, are destroyed by the mere direction of the Lord. Just by the direction of the Lord, everything can be destroyed. So what are we so puffed up about? He can destroy anything, he can create anything, whatever he wants, he can do. Dharmam Bhagavatanam cha bhagvanena gamyate akhyane asmin samam natam adhyatmikam asheshata. The principles of religion by which one can actually understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are called Bhagavad Dharma. In this narration, therefore, which deals with these principles, actual transcendence is properly described. Through the principles of religion, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahman, the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord, and Paramatma, the localized aspect of the Lord. When one is well conversant with all these principles, he becomes a devotee and performs Bhagavad Dharma. Prahlad Maharaj, the spiritual master in the line of disciplined succession, advised that this Bhagavad Dharma be instructed to students from the very beginning of their education. Gomara Acharit Pragyo. To understand the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a real purpose of education. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. One must simply hear about and describe Lord Vishnu and his various incarnations. This narration concerning Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Narasimhadev therefore has properly described spiritual, transcendental subjects. So this is Bhagavad Dharma. Bhagavad Dharma means to perform devotional service by one, two, or all of the 9 processes that Prahlad Maharaj gave. That's all. Now, Prahlad Maharaj, Prabhupada says, spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession. He was not a sannyasi. He was not renunciant or left the house or whatever. He's going to rule over the world, the property of all the demons. This is what he's going to be the king of. But he's still considered spiritual master. He's a great devotee. So things that we have to understand, that the spiritual master could be anybody, not just he has to be a sannyasi. Anybody who teaches Bhagavad Dharma is a spiritual master. And this narration, Shukdev Goswami spent quite a few chapters on the story of Prahlad Maharaj and properly described all these incidents between Prahlad Maharaj, Lord Nrsimhadev, and Hiranyakashipu. Everything is described properly. Ya etat punyam akyanam Vishnu viryopabrahmitam kirtaye shraddhaya shrutva karma pashara vimuchyate. One who hears and chants this narration about the omnipotence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is certainly liberated from material bondage without fail. So this is one of the Shrutifal. So one who chants and hears this narration about Lord Nrsimhadev is certainly liberated from material bondage. So powerful. Etadya adi purushasya mrigendra lila tatendra yutpavadhan prayatah pateta tatyatmajasya cha satam pravarasya punyam shrutvanu bhavam akuto bhayam eti lokam. Prahlad Maharaj was the best among exalted devotees. Anyone who with great attention hears this narration concerning the activities of Prahlad Maharaj, the killing of Hiranyakashipu, and the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nrsimhadev, surely reaches the spiritual world where there is no anxiety. And how we had to hear or speak is with great attention. That's all. Nothing else is required. And Shukdev Goswami, or actually Narad Muni, is saying, it surely reaches the spiritual world. Yuyam nriloke bat bhuri bhaga lokam punana munyo biyanti yesham grihana vasyati samshan gulam param brahma manushya lingam. Narad Muni continued, my dear Maharaj Yudhishthir, all of you, the Pandavas, are extremely fortunate. For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, lives in your palace just like a human being. Great saintly persons know this very well, and therefore they constantly visit this house. So Yudhishthira Maharaj might have been in anxiety that, oh, we are just living in here and we don't get the association. So how are we going to hear about all this again and again? But Narad Muni is assuring him, no, don't worry about that. After hearing about the activities of Prahlad Maharaj, a pure devotee should be very anxious to follow in his footsteps. But such a devotee might be disappointed, thinking that not every devotee can come to the standard of Prahlad Maharaj. This is the nature of a pure devotee. He always thinks himself to be the lowest, to be incompetent and unqualified. Thus, after hearing the narration of Prahlad Maharaj's activities, Maharaj Yudhishthira, who was on the same standard of devotional service as Prahlad, might have been thinking of his own humble position. Narad Muni, however, could understand Maharaj Yudhishthira's mind, and therefore he immediately encouraged him by saying that the Pandavas were not less fortunate. They were as good as Prahlad Maharaj, because although Lord Nrsimhadev appeared for Prahlad, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his original form as Krishna, was always living with the Pandavas. Although the Pandavas, because of the influence of Krishna's Yogamaya, could not think of their fortunate position, every saintly person, including the great sage Narad, could understand it, and therefore they constantly visited Maharaj Yudhishthir. And this is, as Prabhupada explained, this is also nature of pure devotee. He always thinks, I'm the lowest, I'm the most unqualified. I don't have that kind of mercy. And actually, when we study Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where Narad Muni goes to different devotees, and the devotee always refers him to Narad Muni goes to different devotees saying, "Oh, you are the most fortunate. You got all the mercy of the Supreme Lord Krishna." And the devotee always directs Narad Muni to a next level of devotee. He says, no, I'm not fortunate. I have this shortcomings, but look at that devotee. He's so fortunate. He got all the mercy of the Lord. He has done this services. And there, when Narad Muni goes to Prahlad Maharaj, in that story, Prahlad Maharaj tells him that I'm not fortunate. What did I get mercy of? Lord came, he killed my father, and he just spent some time, and then he left me. That's it. I didn't get a whole lot of association, or I didn't get to serve the Lord. So Prahlad Maharaj, I don't remember exactly who Prahlad Maharaj sent Narad Muni to, but then slowly Narad Muni comes to Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj. He came later on. See, Maharaj Yudhishthira and the Pandavas, they were so fortunate that because Krishna visited them so many times. So many times they got to see Krishna, they got to serve Krishna, and Arjun was so very fortunate that Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjun. But of course, devotees are like, no, I didn't get the mercy. I'm very unfortunate. It's not that they don't want anybody else to get the mercy. It's just they themselves think they are most unfortunate. So anyway, that I think when we come to Brihad Bhagavatamrita, then we can discuss. But here Narad Muni specifically mentioned that Pandavas were the most fortunate. Sava ayam brahma mahat vimrigya gyavalya nirvana sukhanti priya suhridva khalu matuleya atmar haniyo vidikrit prushcha. The impersonal Brahman is Krishna himself, because Krishna is the source of the impersonal Brahman. He is the origin of the transcendental bliss sought by great saintly persons. Yet he, the Supreme Person, is your most dear friend and constant well-wisher, and is intimately related to you as a son of your maternal uncle. Because Krishna's father and Pandava's mother, they were brother sisters. Indeed, he is always like your body and soul. He is worshipable, yet he acts as your servant and sometimes as a spiritual master. There is always a difference of opinion about the absolute truth. One class of transcendentalists concludes that the absolute truth is impersonal, and another class concludes that the absolute truth is a person. In Bhagavad Gita, the absolute truth is accepted as a supreme person. Indeed, that supreme person himself, Lord Krishna, instructs in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratishtha. The impersonal Brahman is my partial manifestation, and there is no truth superior to me. That same Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, acted as a supreme friend and relative of the Pandavas, and sometimes even acted as a servant by carrying a letter from the Pandavas to Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, like when he became the Shanti Dut. Because Krishna was a well-wisher of the Pandavas, he also acted as guru by becoming the spiritual master of Arjuna. Arjuna accepted Krishna as a spiritual master. Shishyaste aham shadi mam tvam prapannam. And Krishna sometimes chastised. For example, the Lord said, Ashochyananno ashochastam. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. The Lord also said, Kutasva kashmalamidam. My dear Arjun, how have these impurities come upon you? Such was the intimate relationship between the Pandavas and Krishna. In the same way, a pure devotee of the Lord is always with Krishna through thick and thin. His way of life is Krishna. This is a statement of the authority, Sri Narad Muni. So Narad Muni, understanding the mentality or mindset of Yudhishthira Maharaj, Maharaj was thinking, oh, how great Prahlad Maharaj is, and I didn't get the mercy, but Narad Muni is clarifying how merciful he has been on you, brothers. So merciful. And actually, Pandavas got so much of association of Krishna. Nasyasya sakshat bhava padma jaditi rupam dhiya vastu tayopa varanitam maunena bhaktyopasamena pujita prasidatamesha sasatvatam pati. Exalted persons like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma could not properly describe the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. May the Lord, who is always worshipped as the protector of all devotees by great saints, who observe vows of silence, meditation, devotional service, and renunciation, be pleased with us. So Narad Muni is praying to the Lord from his side. The absolute truth is sought by different persons in different ways, yet he remains inconceivable. Nonetheless, devotees like the Pandavas, the Gopis, the cowherd boys, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan do not need to practice conventional processes of meditation to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he remains with them through thick and thin. So through thick and thin means either they are in distress or they are in tribulation, the Lord is always with them. Therefore, a saint like Narad, understanding the difference between transcendentalists and pure devotees, always prays that the Lord will be pleased with them. Because the devotees, they are just on a different level than just the yogis or jnanis, because Lord is always with his devotees. In fact, the devotees pray, just like Mahadani Kunti prayed to the Lord when he was leaving for Dwarka, that now you're leaving us after the war is over and we got the kingdom. But when we were in trouble, you were always with us. So please give me more and more troubles, so that I always think of you and you're always with us. So this is the mood of a devotee. So how can the Lord leave? There's no way. Sa esha Bhagwan Rajan Vyatanod Vihatam Yasha Pura Rudrasya Devasya Mayenanantamaina. My dear King Yudhishthira, long ago, so there is now a different story is coming up. Long ago in history, a demon named Mayadana, who was very expert in technical knowledge, reduced the reputation of Lord Shiva. In that situation, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, saved Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is known as Mahadev, the most exalted demigod. Thus Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that although Lord Brahma did not know the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva could have known them. This historical incident proves that Lord Shiva derives power from Lord Krishna, the Parabrahman. And here, see, Prabhupada writes, every word is chosen very nicely by Prabhupada. When he said this historical incident, he did not say this mythological incident a mythological story. So this is not a myth. So this is my request to all of you that whenever and wherever you hear somebody calling mythology, this using this word mythology for Vedic scriptures or the pastimes of Krishna or Ram or any pastime, just correct them right then and there. It's not mythology. Don't just use this word because British left these words in our vocabulary, in our education system. And blindly we are following that. Rajuvacha kasmin karmani devasya mayo ahajagdishitu yatha chopachita kirtihi krishne nanena kathyatam. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, for what reason did the demon Maidana vanquish Lord Shiva's reputation? How did Lord Krishna save Lord Shiva and expand his reputation again? Kindly describe these incidents. Shri Narad Vacha Nirjita Asura Devar Yudheno Brahmhita Mayinam Paramacharyam Mayam Sharanam Ayayuhu. Narad Muni said, when the demigods, who are always powerful by the mercy of Lord Krishna, fought with the Asuras were defeated, and therefore they took shelter of Maidana, the greatest of the demons. Sanirmaya Purastisro Hamiropya Ya Sir Vibhu Durlakshya Papaya Samyoga Durvitarkya Parichadaha Tabhiste Asur Senanyo Lokanstrin Seshwaran Ripa Smaranto Nashayam Chakruhu Puru Vairam Alakshitaha. Maidana, the great leader of the demons, prepared 3 invisible residences and gave them to the demons. These dwellings resembled airplanes made of gold, silver, and iron, and they contained uncommon paraphernalia. My dear King Yudhishthira, because of these 3 dwellings, the commanders of the demons remained invisible to the demigods. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the demons, remembering their former enmity, began to vanquish the 3 worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. So I mean, just to tell you ahead of this, that Lord Shiva, when he destroys these 3 planes, then he's called Tripurari. These were 3 puras. Pura means the cities or dwellings, but they were dwellings like airplanes, and they could remain invisible. And the airplanes were made of gold, silver, and iron, not plastic these days that we use, or PVC. And with these airplanes, because there is always fight between demigods and demons, always going on. So sometimes demigods become powerful, and sometimes demons do. So here Maidana had created these 3 airplanes who could remain invisible, and demons sitting in them, they were attacking demigods, and they began to vanquish the 3 worlds. Tataste Seshwara Loka Upasadhyeshwaram Nataha Trahi Nastavakan Deva Vinashtanstri Puralayaha. Thereafter, when the demons had begun to destroy the higher planetary systems, the rulers of those planets went to Lord Shiva, fully surrendered unto him, and said, Dear Lord, we demigods live in the 3 worlds, are about to be vanquished. We are your followers. Kindly save us. Athanugriya Bhagwan Ma Ashteti Suran Vibhu Sharam Dhanushi Sandhaya Pureshvasram Vyamanchata. The most powerful and able Lord Shiva reassured them and said, Do not be afraid. He then fixed his arrows to his bow and released them towards the 3 residences occupied by the demons. Tato Agni Varna Isha Udpetu Surya Mandala Yatha Mayukha Sandoha Nadrishyanta Puro Yataha. The arrows released by Lord Shiva appeared like fiery beams emanating from the sun globe and covered the three residential airplanes, which could then no longer be seen. Tahsprishtavya sarve nipetu sma prokasah Dananiya Mahayogi Maya Kuparasya Kshipat. Attacked by Lord Shiva's golden arrows, all the demoniac inhabitants of those three dwellings lost their lives and fell down. Then the great mystic Maidana dropped the demons into a nectarian well that he had created. See, they are all smart demons. Asuras are generally extremely powerful because of their mystic yogic powers. However, as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. The actual purpose of mystic yoga is to concentrate one's attention fully on the personality of God at Krishna and always think of him. To attain such perfection, one must undergo a certain process, Hatha Yoga, and through this yoga system, the practitioner achieves some uncommon mystic power. The Asuras, however, instead of becoming devotees of Krishna, utilize this mystic power for their personal sense gratification. Maidana, for example, is mentioned here as Mahayogi. He was a great mystic, but his business was to help the Asuras. Nowadays, we are actually seeing that there are some yogis who cater to the senses of materialists, and there are imposters who advertise themselves as God. Maidana was such a person, a god among the demons, and he could perform some wonderful feats, one of which is described here. He made a well filled with nectar and dipped the asuras into that nectarian well. This nectar was known as Mrit Sanjeevayatari, for it could bring a dead body to life. Mrit Sanjeevayatari is also an Ayurvedic preparation. It is a kind of liquor that invigorates even a person on the verge of death. So we have to wait till the modern day scientists figure out what is the Smrita Sanjeevayatari, and then they can try to bring everybody into back in life. But this is again all nonsense. It doesn't serve the purpose at all. Because the demons, even if they get the life back, what are they going to do? Just going to harass the demigods, harass people in general. What else are they going to do? They're not going to do anything useful. But this is what Maidana was doing, and we'll study tomorrow how the fight continues and what Krishna had to do to protect the reputation of Lord Shiva and to protect the demigods also. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Yes, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.